the Father, the Son. This is all I can send you, Kal-El. It's not who I am underneath that defines me, but what I do. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Just because someone stumbles and loses their path doesn't mean they're lost forever. You're making me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. I let my father die because I trusted him. Because he was convinced that I had to wait. That the world was not ready. What do you think? With great power comes great responsibility. We are Groot. We are Groot. We are Groot. We are Groot. We're Groot. We're Groot. We're Groot. I'm with you till the end of the line. Tell me, do you believe? You will. Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. And what are you? Genius. Billionaire. Playboy. Philanthropist. I am Batman. I could do this all day. Peony God. None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. You either die here.
And you're locked in here with me. Good evening. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to another Don't Hate Monday. Movies and trailers and, not just movies and trailers, but also animation, television shows as well. I mean, there's some cool ones coming up as well, and we've been going through them. This is the 4th episode. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you guys hanging out and being part of the show. Live stream. Now, I don't often ask, to ask you guys to put comments down and let me know what you think about the shows and about the upcoming movie trailers that we look at here. But I do pay attention to comments and stuff. So thank you for, writing them down. And I really appreciate words of encouragement for our guests as well as for myself. We've got a couple new guests coming up. Like on Wednesday, we have Katie Did, who's I don't even realize, but she's a pop culture and comic book reviewer and as well. And so I've got her on Wednesday in New Zealand time, which is Tuesday, US. As well as on Friday, we have Carnation Comics from Melbourne, Victoria, US, Aussie, on our live stream on the Kiwis and Comic Books podcast. Tonight's not going to be a long show. I've got a meeting at about 8:30 New Zealand time, which is like about 8:30 a.m. In Sweden. So I've got to make sure I've timed this right, so I can have that meeting with my artist on Zealandia, Joachim. Right. So thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you guys being part of the show as well. As I mentioned, I love interacting with you in chat. I found that that's a really cool way to interact with you guys live, because that way I know what you guys are thinking. I know where you stand with what we're doing, interacting with our guests and stuff like that. And of course, I'm not always going to put out some comments, but like I will ask questions if there are questions to our guests, and because I don't want them to feel uncomfortable either, because sometimes people just want to troll, but I do enjoy that. I'm someone who likes to interact with people. It's kind of, even though like my close network of friends is very tight, I do have a wider group of people that I socialize with, like on Facebook, and if I see them, say hello and stuff. But I think, in this day and age, social media has made that really cool. Like, I mean, that's a good part of social media that I like about this generation, is that you can interact with people all over the world, right? I can have like a meeting at 8:30 p.m. New Zealand time with 8 a.m. at the same, live on video, and share work through projects and stuff, and what I meant there and what he meant there, and look at each other's work and where we're going with that. So thank you for joining me, and I'll start our new movie today. Right, first up is Boy Kills World. This is pretty cool. I love this because this is Bill Skarsgård. This is like the Skarsgård family coming together, and it's like each one of them are quite handsome guys, right? And we'll look at their their background and stuff. So there's Bill, and I think there's another Skarsgård. So let me I'll play this and we can watch that, and then I will we'll go in and have a look at the family and how they are.
This was never a great city, but it was ours.
Are you with me? Always.
Until Hilda Vanderkoy took it from us. This is how she keeps control. They call it the calling.
They're all gonna watch and cheer as you die.
That's me, facing televised execution by breakfast cereal mascots. Not my happiest day. But let me take you back to an even worse one. The day the Vanderkoys killed my family and left me deaf and mute. So I made a 3-step plan. Step 1, give myself an inner voice. I took the last one I remembered from this video game. Player 1 wins. Step 2, get stronger. A lot stronger. And step 3, join a team.
Welcome to the Resistance.
Yeah, go team. The mission is simple. Make the Vanderkoys pay for what they have done. Insert crazy action montage.
You fall in love, is caving in. You never think so nuts about it, God. You wanna laugh, you
I want to see this movie. I want to post this.
You know how hard it is to get a serial
Maybe this
company
action
to sponsor
figure.
mass murder?
wow. You ring the bell and you
Run time!
I don't like this plan. You have reached your final destination.
Oh my God, no! I have information. I'm gonna help you.
Probably wasn't going to help us.
Definitely sounded like he was going to help us.
Do you recognize the voice? Like the narrator's voice? That was like, I love that guy's voice. It's like he's been in like home videos. Have you seen the he's a coach in home videos? And let me bring it up. Like seriously, I when I heard that voice, I was like, that's him. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And so I love what is his name? Like this has got some amazing actors in this. Like, I mean, this got Frank Jensen, like, from, Phoenix, right? From X-Men. Like, I've always, been in love with it, right? Ever since that. It's like just brilliant. And, it's like one of the like great action heroes, right? Because along with Kate Beckinsale, as well as Uma Thurman, and these are like the classic, 2090s actresses that really deserve like really cool awards for being female action heroes, right? And the reason I say that is because someone won an award this week that was like undeserved. It's like the participation award for a person who's most reviled in the world as an actress, in the last year, right? Basically the last 8 months or something. And they ended up giving her a award like for best action. Like seriously, it's like you can see like nepotism. It's like Disney must have paid a lot of money to grease a lot of pockets to get that award for her, because that was just sad. So this movie is like I said, it just looks cool. I like this is fun. They're bringing fun back to movies, right? And it's what we want as a writer. I want to bring fun back to it. I mean, you can have serious stuff, and you can have entertainment and you can escapism, whatever you're doing, you want people to enjoy that. And I think Boy Kills World is amazing. I think it's a really cool idea. Now, who was the narrator? That's what I'm trying to find. Let's find the narrator. I know that maybe it would be easier if I just went, home videos, right? And also he's a dad in where are you? Home videos, animation, home video. Is it home videos or home video? What was it called? It was an animation series. Anyway, it's weird when I can't find the name of people, and it annoys me when I know, because I just forget things so quickly. But look, in Boy Meets World, right? It's got Bill Skarsgård from the Skarsgård family, right? And they all look alike, right? So it can get confusing, right? So the brother of, and so on, and the other brother, he's the youngest brother, right? So I didn't actually realize that he was in Pennywise, because he was Pennywise, sorry. I haven't actually watched it, right? The only it that I've ever watched is the original one with Tim Curry. And I actually read the book. Like, that was my first Stephen King book. It was like really thick, and it was actually probably maybe the first horror novel that I ever read. And I was about 15. And I know how I got it as well. It was like part of a library for like an open library, as part of a open polytech thing that I was at, where I was studying to be a chef. And so the book was there, so I took it home and I read that, and it was like the first book I read, and I was like, creepy and everything, but I quite enjoyed it. And ever since then, I just started reading horror novels and stuff like that, and Hellraiser with Clive Barker, and they're my two favorites, right? King and Barker. And like, they're totally polar opposites of each other when it comes to the style of genre and art, comic storytelling when it comes to horror genre, right? Because they write very differently. So it's quite interesting to see Bill being this character, and as Pennywise. Of course, he's 2 as well, and I haven't seen chapter 2 either. But I have seen Barbarian, I have seen John Wick, right, chapter 4, and it's just cool to see that. It's kind of almost like suddenly it's like the Skarsgård family sort of like is a new, look, so like you got Stellan, the father, right? The older one, this dude here, very well known, right? Then you've got, where is the other one? So you've got, where's the brothers, siblings? Where's the siblings at? Alexander, that's it. There you go, Alexander. Oh, he's a relative, right? So you got Alexander, right, from that vampire series. Was it True Calling? No, True Blood, right? Yeah, it was True Blood. So very well known, and he's been on a whole bunch of movies. This is like a friggin', how many seasons was that? And I saw every one of them. I did enjoy this. I'm a vampire fan. Like, you can see, like, it was like, give it a 9. I'm and I'm writing a vampire story right now, creature monster, thing, and I'm really enjoying it. And we're getting to a stage now where in the story where I've got to write a fight scene, right? And so I'm watching a whole bunch of fight scenes from like John Wick, from Monkey Man that we played last week, because the fight scene for my comic book, for this book, right? For this issue, chapter, I should say, takes place in a kitchen, in a pizza restaurant, right? And it's like making sure that whatever's happening in that room, that it's happening amongst that sort of, what would you say, like environment, like tables, chairs, utensils. There's a pizza oven, a wood fire kind of pizza oven type thing, and so it's been really cool because it's another aspect of my life, right? Like as a career, I used to be a cook, right? As a bistro chef, I've worked in restaurants in the back and in the front, serving wine, serving food, cooking food, right? Serving that up as well, cashing people out, cleaning in the kitchen. So it's all kind of like using what my knowledge of my background into what I'm going to do with this story going in. So it's quite fun. Like I said, I love, werewolves have been my main thing forever since I was a kid. So, it's teenager, I should say, starting with like the werewolf TV show, right? In the 90s, I think it was late 80s. So I'm looking forward to this. I think this is another good movie like Monkey Man, right? Like the one we saw with Dev Patel last week. I think it was, we looked at that. And it's just good action scene. Like, I think it's good to get back to just fun action movies. And this one, like basically the story behind Boy Kills World, right, is action thriller, dystopian fever dream action film that follows Boy, a deaf person with a vibrant imagination. When his family is murdered, he is trained by mysterious shaman to repress his childish imagination and become an instrument death. Now, that also kind of falls into Monkey Man, right? So if you look at Monkey Man, it's the same thing. Some guy basically teaches this boy how to be tough, right? I mean, how to be, strong and heavier. Because you don't just suddenly become, very strong. So this is I'm really looking forward to, right?
When I was a boy,
And I want to see them at the cinema.
my mother used to tell me a story of a demon king and his army. They brought fire and terror to the land until they faced the protector of the people, the white monkey.
Why am I wasting money here? Might as well watch it at home. But there are some great movies that you can watch that can only feel great on the big screen.
In this city, the rich don't see us as people. Give me the job
Isn't the senses thing?
I'll do it.
And the other thing about
Anyone
negative thing
forgets
that
their
I have
peace
personally
doesn't
towards
turn out
cinemas
well for them.
is people around you don't even respect what for
This
the
is not a
audience
place to work
you
if you
might
can't
have.
handle
They
that
might
sort
be
of stuff.
talking, yapping on their phone, throwing things around, and you're like trying to be really in the
Every
moment.
day,
Especially if it's a scary movie,
I've
right?
prayed
Like
for
I
a way
said,
to protect the
I've got a
world.
scene where
I've got an
people
answer
draw
to
me out
every
of it.
prayer. I call her Nikki.
By throwing ice around and
Minaj,
drinks around, and I'm like,
Big bumper,
Yeah.
nice headlights. Let's boogie.
that's what I mean about writing a scene, right? You gotta be able to write a scene that works in environment. It looks really weird.
We need to fight
Fake
for
scene.
your mother, for all of us.
Anger around quiet.
Like a 100-pound girl, the 70-pound girl walking in and kills everybody. It's like, doesn't work, man.
Don't call me son.
It's time to remember who you are.
So the interesting thing about this is, for me, I think it's like actually maturation of Bollywood, right? Like not Bollywood, but like in the sense of like they're really getting serious about how they tell a story. And I think Dev here, just like with Slumdog Millionaire, right? You could tell an Indian story in a very serious way that I've always missed, that I've enjoyed in Western cinema, right? And even like not just Western, but actually European cinema, like in every other cinema except Bollywood. Bollywood people go to be entertained, to dance, because music is part of the religion. It's like part of the culture. It's like part of everything that Indians do that has to be music and dance. Like you have like a prayer meeting, there is music there. Like I have my cousins, they actually grew up, basically have learned the traditional instruments, right? Like the tabla, like the keyboard thing with like the air thing. I don't even know what it's called, but they've learned that. And my other cousin plays, the older cousin of the two plays bass as well. It's classical jazz bass, right? But because the thing is that you grow up dancing to the Bollywood movies, you grow up putting on performances for your family, and then when there's parties on, you do the same thing. So I know every culture has dance, but for Bollywood and for Indians, it's another level, man. If you've seen anything, and if you've seen a Bollywood movie, it's another friggin' level when it comes to music in there. It's almost like, you know, like you say, like there's a sad, you know, there's like a romantic moment. The girl and the boy, you know, the main girl, main boy breaks out in song and dance, you know, and there's like about 20 different scenes across mountains, rivers, and rose gardens, and, you know, plains, snowy mountaintops, desert fields, and they're fun freaking movie that's got nothing to do with them being there, you know. But it's like this fantasy world they create in that music, and I think for me that's really like, it's fun when you're a kid, right? For me personally, it's fun when you're a kid in your teen, you know, early teens, pre-teens, but and then like, and I think this has a lot to do with me being growing up in New Zealand, coming into New Zealand early on, and then seeing stuff like Star Trek, you know, Aliens, you know, Rocky, you know, all that, the whole franchise, you know, but early on, like 1, 2, 3, you know, Star Wars, movies like that, right? And a bunch of others like Westerns, you know, Thursday afternoon, oh no, not Thursday, I should say after school movies, you know, as well as like looking at stuff like, you know, you had like the after school specials after you came home. And then on Saturdays you had you know, you had like the Westerns come on, and you like spaghetti Westerns, and you watch that. So, and then afterwards, right, after watching this bow and arrow kind of like scenes, right, on shootouts and so on, you go out with your friends and you'd go and make your bow and arrow, and you play with your friends, right, out on the street and stuff. Like that's what we used to do, right, in the 80s. Like it would be like, I just watched Robin Hood. You know what? Let's go build us some. You know, you're watching with your friend, and then you go, you know what? We'll go and build that. And nobody would be there going, no, don't do that, don't do that. So you'd be like, they go, okay, just don't shoot at me, okay? Because I want to get hurt. Don't do it, dude. Don't do it. And you just do it anyway, right? It made you tough, right? So, you know, it's kind of how you get influenced by what you see in your environment, and then when you're playing and you're falling over, you know, you like, I remember like playing with I think it must have been like sword fighting on a brick fence, right? It's about this wide. So like say this would be the best way to think, this wide, like a phone, right? Phone wide, and we had a brick fence that they're kind of like on the footpath, right? Between our house and the footpath, there was a brick fence, which was about, I don't know, about 20, maybe 25 meters long, and we'd stand on it, and my mate, and I'm not sure if Regan would be there or Sheldon, and we, you know, my neighbors from across the street, and we'd like basically fight on that brick, and nobody cared if you fell over or got hurt, because we were having fun. And that's like, basically we're just letting our imagination run wild. And I think that's a thing that, like Stu Colson said when we had that conversation 2 weeks ago, right, on the Kiwis and Comic Books podcast, which, by the way, we've got another one on this week, this Friday at 7:30 New Zealand time, which is kind of like around about 7:30 a.m. Sweden, right? So Eastern, I'm not sure, maybe it's like about midnight or something. So if you guys are in in America or something, in the outside of the world, just know that you need to check your world converter, a time converter, to know what time we're on there. But we have Carnation Comics on Friday, and I'm hoping that Rico will join again as a guest host and a co-host to just help me through with that. And then we got a whole bunch of stuff we want to talk about in the after party as well. So let's have a look at another movie. So as I mentioned, like on Facebook, there is a couple. Remove that. Bring up a new one. There is a couple serious movies that's come out. This we made, last year, the year before, right? This finally getting some light of day, and there's some serious stuff. And like, for me, like my dad's dead, right? My step grandfather, right? But I don't care. I don't believe in stepness. Once once your dad's been with you for friggin' 40 odd years, that's your dad, right? So my dad's dad was in World War One as a minesweeper on the English Channel, right? And so World War Two for us is part of our life. And so for me, I look a lot at the movies there and stuff. I look at the history there. My dad used to collect these magazines, the so-called men's magazines, and about the stories and that they were right. And I miss them now because a lot of them got thrown out and stuff. I mean, these are like things from like the 70s, 60s. There were also like World War II, like how you get like your Eagle Moss magazines with like toys and stuff. Well, they had those types, but not the toys and stuff, right? And so Dad used to collect those as well. He had albums of them. I wonder if I might have to go and see if he still got them or not. But like they were left in like a shed at the back of the in the garden shed kind of thing, in like huge like suitcases. And so rats got into them, water got into them, moss got into them, and so we did clean out in about, I think 2019 or 2019. And so Rico, I was able to give Rico like about a huge pack of PC magazines, right? That came out here like from the 80s. Their dad used to, because my dad's been into computer games and stuff like that, and computers since like VIC 20, right? Like VIC 20, dude. Because you had VIC 20, you had Atari, VIC 20, and I think it was VIC 20, Atari, then Commodore 64, and we had all those three. And I kicked myself because I should have gone there and grabbed those early on before they got destroyed, because moisture and all that got into them, because those are like priceless now. I mean, not priceless, but antiques, right? So this is a movie called let me see if I can put it there. Yeah, so One Life, and after this is another movie, and we'll have a look at a bit more about this after we play this, right?
On air!
Okay, and you are just here.
Good night. Take Father back.
Now, an extraordinary story about a young man who many years ago visited Prague. What he found there were thousands of refugees at the mercy of Hitler's imminent invasion.
Do you ever think about the children and what happened to them?
I have to hear some stories.
That's really not about me.
We are working to evacuate these children by train to safety in Britain.
Why are you doing this, Mr. Winton?
Because I may be able to do something about it. I must.
Go. Now. Nikki, you must know we cannot save them all. You have to forgive yourself that.
I started her. I have to finish it.
We cannot let these people down.
It is incredible what you achieved.
We're doing as much as we can. I have a lot of faith in ordinary people.
Because I'm an ordinary person.
Save one life, save the world.
Forgive me, but how many children are we speaking about?
Can I ask, is there anyone in the audience tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton?
If you guys remember Schindler's List, right? And you should watch that movie, right? And this is kind of like goes hand in hand with that. I'm sorry about like how that's put out there. It's like over on my screen it looks like this, and then the other one looks like that. So that's One Life, and it's another movie that's coming out this year. And one thing I think I owe this to my dad, right? Who's in his 80s now. A love for history and research and knowing about the past. And I think, and recently I've been thinking like that I have some sort of like compulsive disorder, because like once I think about, once I get stuck on a subject, I like to keep looking at it over and over again, and from all points, not just one, this way. I look at it from all around, because my dad, like, what they say in America, like college, right? But in New Zealand, university, and went to that, and has books and stuff like that has always been a part of my life. And like I mentioned here, that like I was taught how to read because I didn't know how to read English when I was coming up, because I wasn't good at it. And here I am now a writer, right? Because early on I was taught how to read and how to pronounce words. I still have difficulty sometimes actually saying words because I just don't know how to, say them in the right pronunciation and stuff. But one thing I think my dad has done by having books around the house, whenever I asked him a question, he would know the answer to it. And that made me think, oh, okay, so I should know the answer to it as well, right? If somebody asks me something about myself, about something that I'm doing, I should know answer to that as well. Because like if you go, well, why did you put that in there? I'm like, oh, I know why, right? I can tell you. And if I forget, I go, oh yeah, I've got it written down, And I think for us, I think we do a disservice to the past by trying to rewrite it, which is what I get really angry about when people want to change what the history was like. See, history is there to remind us what not to do and to learn from it. And that that's something very important to me, because I know my history is very important to me. There's parts of it that I fully hate about it, and things that happened to me and stuff. And there's things that happen to people around me, but I don't want it to change, because that's what made me who I am. That made my friends who they are, made my family who they are, because everybody grows. There's people that the only people that we should laugh at are the ones that don't want to grow, that don't want to change. And I don't mean that in an ugly way. I just mean that people shouldn't be forced to change. People should be just given knowledge and insight and go left to themselves to go, hey, time is a way of like bringing people around. Me, man, I'll go blah blah blah, and then later on I go, yeah, you know what, I was wrong at that point. Yeah, I was right, and then I go, yeah, because I was able to got new knowledge. I changed upon that knowledge. Now if I find the knowledge wasn't right, then I won't change. But if I find that it's it's something that's worthwhile taken on board, then I will. And I've always been open to that, because I think in our family, because we have multinational ethnic groups in our family, which is why I'm always pushing for equality in a real way, right? Not so, and diversity in a real way, not like, oh, we should hold down this this race over this race because now it's payback time. And I find that very offensive when people say, oh, the white people had it good so long and now we should do. That's two wrongs don't make a right, right? Because like they say, it's like blinding the blind, poking out one eye and poking out the other just so that everybody's fair, right? It doesn't work. And it's a dangerous way to look at the world. And I think this whole Google thing, which we're going to talk with, hopefully Rico will be on with Friday night with us on the Qs and Comic Books, because he's more technically minded than I am. I don't try to be who I'm not, and I don't try to push into things that I don't know much about. I just, there's things I'm interested in, I'll just superficially look at that. So another movie, actually, let's go look at this, the creators of this. Give me a sec here. I'm just trying to get around my webcam. It's not it. So I can see my screen. I've got a little tiny screen, and I've got like 43 inch and a 40 inch over the other side, because like I don't have room for that one over here. So the other one here is actually, no, we're going to look at the IMDb page for this, right? So Anthony Hopkins, as you know, Sir Anthony Hopkins, he's a legend in New Zealand, right? He was part of the fastest, I think Peter Jackson movie, The Fastest Indian, right? Based on the book. Not the book, sorry, the movie with Peter Jackson. Is it Peter? Oh no, Roger Donaldson. Sorry, I think it was was it like helped or something, produced or something by. But anyway, this was made in 2005, right? So in 2004, mid 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, I was at film school. So this was actually being made there in Invercargill while I lived there. And I actually saw him in passing at the cafe, right? And didn't say anything because I knew who it was. I'm not going to go mess with someone who's trying to get some meal, right? Trying to get coffee, because that's their time away from work. And I find that pretty interesting when people do that, when they just rock up to somebody who's having a meal with their family or just having a downtime. And, you know, and maybe even they're there because maybe they want to hang out with people. But I actually got to also say hi to Roger Donaldson. Somebody said, "Oh, this is the guy," right? I didn't even know who that was because he came into our, I think he came into our sports bar where I was like working in the bistro. He said, "Oh, that's the guy that's doing the, you know, directing that movie." And that's how small the place was, right? And here's the thing: in New Zealand, we don't get in people's faces just because they're famous in this way. And I think I love that about our culture, right? I should rate this, and I think it was an 8, if I remember right. I should say I love this movie. It's really well done. It's a biopic kind of thing, you know, biography, and you know, Roger Donaldson, if I remember right, he's one of our, you know, long-time Kiwi directors, but he's, you know, he's Australian, but he's done quite a few movies. Like, I mean, Species, horror movie, right? Watch that. That's pretty cool. I enjoyed that as well. Let's give it a 8 because no, I've got a 7. It's been a while. I don't know when I picked it to give it a 6, but I did enjoy that. So he's done horror and now he's done a biography, you know. But talking about Anthony Hopkins, right? For us, you know, someone of his award-winning actor willing to work on a film about a New Zealand motorbike, you know, customizer, you know, watch the movie, you'll see, right? And it really, you know, Burt Munro, right? The story of Burt Munro, sorry, I should say here, right? 1967, right? So the story of New Zealander Burt Munro, who spent years rebuilding a 1920 Indian motorcycle, which helped him set the land speed world record, right? Not the American World Series kind of thing, you know, where it's everybody but only Americans, right? You know, that are, you know, the World Series of softball, whatever, or baseball, and it's only American states that are playing in it. Not that sort of thing, but there's the entire world, right? So Utah, you know, set the world record for speed record for land, right? Not air, in Utah, Bonneville Salt Flats, 1967. So do watch this movie. And as you know, like, I mean, I should say, Anthony Hopkins is a legendary actor. Like, that's like, he's won so many awards. And so this story is about Sir Nicholas Nicky Winton, a young London broker who, in the months leading up to World War II, rescued over 600 children from Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia. See, we don't know about the other, you know, we don't often hear about the other countries, like around, you know, Germany at that time in the 40s, right? Mid-40s, early 40s. But this is a really good one because this tells you about Czechoslovakia. There was other things happening as well. That was the Nazis were doing at that time, right? Around, like in Poland and Austria, Switzerland, France. You know, France. I knew a lot about France because of Allo Allo, right? That because it played here all the time in New Zealand. Like, it's, you know, it's a comedy from out of Britain, but it played here, right? So, you know, in early 1980s and so on, and maybe early 90s as well. And so, you know, yeah, it's like 82 for 10 years, right? So 85 episodes. So, you know, this one's basically, you know, in France, it's a comedy, by the way, right? And not in France, Nazi-occupied France. So in France during World War II, René Artois runs a small cafe where I just reminded that, like in Howler, you know, it's a pizza cafe that I'm doing right now as a comic book. And we're going to release it as a graphic novel. So like something like this in color at print, right? We're going to release the chapters, the 3 chapters or so, or 4 chapters as like digital, black and white, and then in color we'll release it in print, right? So it's going to be a nice little full color graphic novel. So in France during World War II, René Artois runs a small cafe where resistance fighters, Gestapo men, German army officers, and escaped Allied POWs interact daily, ignorant of one another's true identity or presence, exasperating René. It's such a, it's kind of like, you know, lets you see what was going on and laugh along with it, but also see the serious nature of it, because it never gets away. It never tries to downplay the seriousness of it. It's like, yeah, he's like the middleman, and it's such a cool show. And I think for me, I think after all those years, you know, and memory-wise, deserves a 10. And so, you know, like I said, we don't know about the other things, but except through entertainment and through cinema and through TV. And that's what I really, really appreciate about cinema and TV, is that you can tell stories in a quick way, visually, an entertaining way, without having to research a lot into it. But I always encourage people, if you enjoy it, you know, if this is something, do research on it, so you yourself are aware of what what was like. So yeah, so 600 kids, and like I said, Schindler's List, right? If you watch Schindler's List, you'll be able to find, where are we? Let me bring this. Schindler's List. And that came out like, wow, 30 years ago. So if like, the reason I'm saying that is like, you know, Schindler's List came out in 1993. This one, right? Oh, ran away from me. Right. So this has come out like basically 30 years later, which is, I think it's kind of you know, yeah, it's I think we in this this modern thing have become numb to atrocities, because we see it on our phone all the time. So we care, you know, we don't find it as shocking as it should be. And so it's I think social media's made us numb to these things. But like, let's have a look at this one here. And then we'll go into a Tattooist's life. I think there's another movie that I want to bring up. And then we'll get something a bit more.
By law, I have to tell you, sir, I'm a Jew. Well, I'm a German. So there we are.
You want these people?
My people. I want my people.
Who are you, Moses?
They say your factory is a haven. They say you are good.
Who says that?
Everyone.
All you have to do is tell me what it's worth to you. What's a person worth?
No. What's one worth to you?
Power is when we have every justification to kill. And we don't. The list is life. Fervor saves long life. saves the world in time.
If you haven't, if you haven't, if you haven't seen Schindler's List, I recommend it. Because that's another biography, right? And the next biography we're going to look at is, I should mention, like, in One Life, right? It's the actresses in it. It's like, so Lena Olin. And also, I noticed that Helena Bonham Carter is doing a serious role. And you guys would know, if you're a Harry Potter fan, for those who are of this generation age, right, the last 20 years or something, and have grown up on, on Harry Potter rather than the classics like Edward Scissorhand and so on. You know her from, from her more Harry Potter roles, but I know her from like more crazy roles and so on. But the next movie we're going to look at is, let me bring that out of there, and is the Tourist? Yeah, the Tourist of Auschwitz, right? Which is basically, if I remember right, that's where Schindler's List was set. I may be wrong, but I'm just going to make sure about that. So while we watch this, I will try to get my information right.
We must keep living.
You want to write this down?
I think I'd just like to listen.
I was a young man in a terrible place. This is what it was every day. But I found something there. Someone.
We must keep living. Whatever it takes.
So that's coming to that is coming to Sky, right? So if you have Sky TV, you'll be able to watch it there. So yeah, Auschwitz is in Poland. I just did a search on it because I was like, yeah, I know the same place. So this was, Schindler's List was set there as well as the Tattooist. Now, where are we, Mr. Tattooist? Let me just. There we go. So the Tattooist of Auschwitz, right? It's got Harvey Keitel, who has, like, if I remember right, Harvey has done movies for a while. He's an award-winning actor as well. So this is based on a novel. There's a powerful real-life story, another real-life story, right? Of like, you've got Schindler's List, you've One Life, and now you've got this. So three real life stories. And so, if you don't, I don't know how much, as a viewer, you'll whether you know about what they mean by tattooist there, is that basically he's a guy that put the numbers on, on the Jewish, and not just Jewish, but mainly Jewish, like 600, something millions of them. I think it was, don't have the exact number, but a lot. And so he's the one who would like tattoo their numbers on them, so that when they took down the notes, the numbers were there. right? And that's what I think was like early on, like in Schindler's List, when you saw that where they're like burning, got the list of people's name that Schindler's trying to buy with money, right? And trying to buy the lives of people. Basically, this is how he's a guy that's going to basically take, put the numbers on them, and then they'll put the notes up, and then they'll give it to Schindler and go, yeah, this is to the commandant of the actual camp, right? The guy in charge, right? The manager, who's in charge of basically gassing them, right? And then burning them in a crematorium, all right? Basically mass murder, right? And so this is a story about the guy who's basically putting the numbers down. And so based on it, I'm not even trying to, pronounce that. That's like I was saying earlier, I have problems with pronouncing words. Title novel, this is the powerful real life story of Lale Sokolov, a Jewish prisoner who was tasked with tattooing ID number on prisoners' arms in the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp during World War II. This has got Melanie Lemsky. Melanie is, of course, as you know, is a Kiwi, right? So she's popped back out of that one, hit the wrong one. So Melanie, New Zealander, who's been in many, her rise to fame was in Heavenly Creatures in 1994, right? And Peter Jackson's movie there, written by Fran Walsh and Peter Jackson, alongside Kate Winslet, right? International actress, American actress. So that was actually a good movie as well. It's about kind of like a real biography as well. It's kind of feel like a biography night tonight, where we're looking at one of the I think the first two female murderers in New Zealand's history, and so that's also worth checking out and to see that. And it's like it's got like it's fantasy elements in it as well, because these girls lived in the create like fantastical worlds that they live in, and then they and then the murder that happens that they commit, right? But getting back to the tattooists of Auschwitz, it's like I said, we need to be reminded of the past atrocities, because then we know how to be human and how not to be monsters. I think a lot of times we forget that it's easy to be a monster. It can be as simple as like turning a blind eye to somebody getting beaten up, or somebody being mistreated. Very simple, right? Some kid being bullied, or domestic. You don't put say, hey, cut it out. It just seems like we've got to a point where we've become so individualistic due to social media. I blame social media a lot for that, but also fatherless homes, parents not being parents as well, because, and also bad parenting. There can be ones where there's no parents, and then there's also bad parenting. And so I think it's that everything sort of comes out of the home, I think, in social, in society. And so it's kind of sad to see the way we treat people now. And there's stresses, exterior elements in society that's also affecting it, like inflation, right? Income, weather, right? Like damaging, and building is something. Now you got money, you got to put out, you get health. All these things all play factors in it. But if your home isn't treating you to be a better person on how to deal with stress and situations, you're just going to grow up into being another stressed out person who's going to be a bad person growing up and treat people, in a bad way. And these are movies that like show us the pinnacle, the top of the pyramid, where people just the end result of become careless to others, and being so full of uncaring apathy about other human beings that you tattoo them, right? And you make them into just a number, right? It reminds me of that song, or that show, The Prisoner. I'm not a number, I'm a real person, I'm a free man, and it's something like that sort of, I'm not just a person, I'm just not somebody on the screen. I'm actually a human being with so many different likes, dislikes, ideas, thoughts, and that's like everybody out here in this world, right? Every individual is made up of so many factors in their lives. And I think seeing things like this actually should be a reminder to us that how when we stop thinking that people are more than just a face or a color or a race, that's when we, that's how we start then making them into a number. They're just individuals, they're part of a group. They're not actual individual beings. They're not actually someone with a heart, a soul, a family, and, concern for others. And that, they're just like us, right? So we, one of the golden rules, right, in life is, it's like treat others like yourself, like you want to be treated. Like, the golden rule, treat your neighbor like you want to be treated yourself. And I think the more we kind of concentrate on that, we'll be a better human beings, and society would be better for it. Now, let's move over to something a bit more, fun. This is the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's got to do with wrestling, something that I enjoy and I watch as a part of and Stephen, I'm going to bring your comment up in a sec. I saw it earlier and then I forgot, but I've just noticed again. So now, and actually we'll bring Safe up and we'll have a look at that as well, because I can't remember if I've seen that trailer or not. So this is Suburban Commando from the 90s. And one thing, this is just a clip from it. And the reason I'm playing this is because a little Undertaker, and I'll play it in low volume so I'll talk over it because I don't want to get, here we go. So I watched the video where Hulk Hogan was being interviewed, right? And Hulk Hogan is a guy who just lies for the sake of, who doesn't even realize he's lying a lot. And he's been caught out so many times. But we know he's a big personality and so on. But he's also been someone who's been outed as being someone who's helping other people. Has been an all for himself, allegedly, right? And so I watched a documentary, kind of like an interview with Jesse Ventura from the original Predator, right? And he was saying about how Hulk Hogan, basically, when Jesse was saying, hey, you know what we should do? We should have a union so that we can actually help the wrestlers so that they don't end up dying or getting hurt without any compensation, and that their families are left with huge bills, or they're left without any, retirement fund, right, for the kids to come up with. And Hulk Hogan, Jesse says outright, is the one who went to Vince McMahon, who's, as you will know right now, is dirtbag when it comes to wrestling. Went to Vince McMahon at WWE, at that time was WWF, and knocked on Jesse wanting to do a union for wrestling in America, right? Especially in WWE. Now, as you've watched the history of WWE and wrestling in general, especially in America, because that's where everybody gets to see all these big names and stuff, right? So many people have been hurt. So many people have later on, been concussed and died nearly. I still think about how The Rock, right, Dwayne Johnson, nearly killed, and basically destroyed. What's his name? The sock guy. I can't remember his name. I always forget his name. Steve, if you know, let me know, man. I can't remember his name. But it just talks about how, the things that happen in the ring and outside the ring, and now we hear about so much that's happening. So this this here is the suburban commando, right? Getting back to Hulk Hogan being who he is, right? Say had this little comment in an interview where he said, like, at that time in the 90s when he was Hulkamania's running wild, brother, a producer, a big name movie producer, like Hollywood producer, said to him, "You're out, you're gonna be out, you're basically John Wayne," right? And when you look at Hulk Hogan's movies, they're nowhere over 5, right? They're and by that I mean here, by people, right? They're chosen to be over 5. Sorry, let me change that. Here we go. So, yeah, his movies are nowhere over 5, right? And I think cheers, dude. I think I'll bring him up. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember it on the tip of my head, whatever. But like Hulk Hogan's movies have never been, award-winning. Let's just say that. And for Hulk Hogan to, hey Nugget, and for Hulk Hogan to think that he's like he was supposed to be John Wayne, brother, like someone's basically telling him lies, and of course, maybe Hulk Hogan himself allegedly is telling lies here in this interview, where he goes, "Oh, they wanted me to be this and that," and I'm like, he talks about how like I couldn't handle that because I don't like the waiting 12 hours a day and having to just go to do 4 hours, 4 minutes of video shoot, and then I'm away again. And I understand that because that's basically what, filmmaking teaches you, that this, you got hours of getting set up and then you go, "Yo, you're on now. Shoot a couple of scenes. Okay, catch you later in a couple of hours. We'll let you know. Go sit down in your caravan, or your camper van." But the whole idea that, Hulk Hogan was going to be John Wayne or Brad Pitt or George Clooney, right, in the 90s, is just, or even Bruce Willis, right, because Bruce Willis was great, and he's not of that caliber. And like I'll put on this, and I thought that was funny to think that. And the other reasons, Undertaker talks about that. That's why I played that the clip before.
When it comes to intergalactic confrontation, no one can beat Chef Ramsay.
Excellent work, Ramsay.
What's next?
Why don't you try relaxing?
But now he's about to land in a place even he isn't prepared for. Suburbia.
Get to know the locals. Blend in.
How do you know which ones are the right ones?
You have to squeeze it a bit.
Wow, I found a good one.
Here, they have strange ways of fighting.
You got any idea what we're gonna do to you? Let me guess. You're gonna pound my face.
What are you, nuts? It's the 90s. We're gonna sue you.
They have bizarre means of protection.
No, please, wait. Let's talk about this. No.
There are dangers he's never seen.
My mom could stay on longer than that.
And enemies he's never known.
I hate Suburbia.
So you'd better not fake him out.
Must be a K7 force field. I'll break you out of there. Glad I could help.
Or take him on. For Hulk Hogan, it's no game. It's war.
Do you belong to some kind of army? Or you just go around doing good like some kind of superhero?
Hulk Hogan, Christopher Lloyd.
I was frozen today.
Suburban Commando.
My cat. My cat. That's not my cat.
Oh.
So, cheap, cheesy laughs kind of thing. But, it's comedy, as you can see. An interstellar hero from a distant world visits Earth and tries to fit in with fit in with a mundane yet kind suburban family, right? So, but Hulk doesn't have the has a body of a wrestler, but he does not have the chops of an actor, right? And you can see it like when he's just delivering one-liners. That's all he's doing, and but you really can't, you know, he's just a name kind of thing. Like he brings that whole wrestling thing, but he's not going to be your, you know, like your serious acting chops type thing. And that's, I mean, like a lot of wrestlers have done that, right? Like Dwayne The Rock is a new one who's basically stepped into that scene. You got Nicky Snickety, John Cena, right? Just so John Cena's got a movie he's part of right now. Did we play that last week? Let me bring that up, and then we'll move on to the next one. So where is he? And of course, John's done really well for himself in the sense that, you know, he's been given particular roles that actually suit him. You know, that like and I think it kind of works for him, right? He's not trying. He's having a laugh at it, unlike Hulk at the time was like being too serious with the whole idea of that. Now, I think it's Vacation Friends. What is it called? Snickety. Man, I hate it when I can't remember. Actor, come on, which one was it? It's not Argyle. It's like Freelance. I think it's Freelance. Is it Freelance? No, not Freelance. Something Snickety. Yeah, let me see if I can find it through the Snickety. But yeah, John's done really well. I mean, like he's, you know, he's I like if you watch him in yeah, I can't even find it. But and I don't know why it's not even, it's this movie, right? So why isn't this movie coming up? Was it Trainwreck? Yeah, Ricky Snickety, right? So let's have a look at this. So this is the one I was thinking about, right? So this is coming out this year. So bit of fun, all right? Another wrestler movie. I mean, actor.
Nicky, what up, man? Are you serious? Have someone call me when you get out of surgery, all right?
You should drive out there. Ricky's been there for you guys your whole lives.
The devil's in the details, my friend. It worked. Atlantic City, here we come.
What we got?
Ricky's cancer is back.
Why does it have to be cancer? Won't everybody get worried? Yeah, and that's going to take us right into the World Series.
This is a really good idea for a plot movie.
The best friend we've never had. My baby's going to be born 6 weeks early.
I was born 6 weeks early.
Oh, I want to know where the hell you guys were tonight. We called every hospital and there was no.
Like, I mean, seriously, like, you know, he goes, you know, if you, and it's, I mean, it's a joke, right? Because that's what comedy is. You take a very serious thing and you make it laugh, and you know, make people laugh about it. So it actually takes the seriousness out of it, but you know it's serious. So that's a classic little line right there. It's like, you know, they're looking at it. I was born 6 months early, and they go, you know, it's perfect. The timing, everything on that is perfect. Whoever wrote that is, you know, that line is going to be awarded, right, for that. Delivering such a, I mean, let's have a look at that again, right? So delivering that line in that way is just awesome.
The best friend we never had. My baby's going to be born 6 weeks early.
I was born 6 weeks early.
Oh, I want to know.
You know, it's like, it's basically premature, right? And premature births are not a laughing matter. And, you know, it's like very serious. Like, I remember like my nephew being born with a hole in his heart, like serious. It was devastating for the family, and all the times they had to run up to the what's it called? It's not Starship Children's Hospital, right? From here, like basically just all the time going up in the first early couple of years, right? And just operations upon operations, and it's like for that moment to take away some, make a humor out is really cool, because I think you need that in comedy. You know, I mean, you need comedy in that moment, because it's like something serious like that, just to like, you know, and people go like, you know, you can't talk about that. You can't make a joke about it because it's such a, listen, man, that's when you do need humor, right? Because it just takes a bite and the pain away for a moment, and then you get, you know, out of the scene, and it's out of the situation, and it just helps. And that's what comedy is supposed to do, right? Take a really serious moment and make you laugh about it, and not make you feel pain in that moment. And I think that's really cool. So let's get back.
I don't know where the hell you guys were tonight. We called every hospital and there was no record of a Ricky Stanicki.
You know, all we did was tell one lie.
Hundreds and hundreds of times over many, many years.
If the truth does come out, my marriage is over.
What if we hire an actor to play Stanicki? Rock hard ride.
This is what I'm saying. This is such a great plot for a story, right? Because it's like you've tied, these guys have told lies for decades to their, you know, significant others, wives, girlfriends, whatever. That there's this guy that they go and see, and they use as an excuse to get away from serious things. When they like don't want to go to certain things with their partners, they can get away together and go and have a good time. And you know, now
X-rated rock and roll impersonator.
I do a whole act, wall to wall, top to bottom, jizz jams. Thanks for coming out tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So horny to be here.
This is a really bad idea.
Oh, Jesus. I've been cold turkey in the booze. Ricky Stanicki's in the program, remember?
Oh, Rod.
It's not what you think it is. It's just piss.
I'm a hyper every time. Now my mouth.
I want you to.
I think this is why I'd rather watch a John Cena movie, because he just, even though he does the action movies, I'd rather watch this, because I think he's more down to earth in this, right? And it's just like he's laughing at himself. He's taking, you know, he's not taking himself seriously, I should say, not laughing at himself, but not taking things seriously, because then he'll go and do something like Freelance, which is a full-on action movie and it's all serious. But then he turns around and does this. And I think that sort of humanizes John Cena to everybody, like to his fans, right? Because I mean, like, he's been like, you know, the face for so many years, as they say, and in wrestling, that now people can see him as a normal person. And I think it's something really cool. I mean, I can't say the same for Rock, right? I see him as like something really dastardly, you know, someone who I just would not trust, right? But John, I could, you know, and if I was a friend with John, I'd be like, yeah, I can trust this dude. The Rock feels like he's a two-faced dude, you know, and especially same to, you know, Hulk Hogan as well.
Admit that Ricky Stanicki does not exist.
Hey, Mash
This is Ted Summerhays, my boss.
Ted, nice to meet you. Digging the suit and the seedlings, man.
The seedlings.
The hair plugs, they're new, right?
This is my hair. We're gonna lose our jobs.
That's my best friend. She a real bad on the dance floor.
Epic night, am I right, guys?
Throw it out and come back in. That's my best friend.
I was really taken with your friend Stanicki. He's got brass balls on him, that guy. That's why I hired him.
That's awesome. You just said, what did you say? Just say it one more time. We can't let him out of our sight.
Not only did I miss the birth of my son, but I let some porno Peter Frampton impersonator snip his...
And we're done.
Stanicki, you are unbelievable.
Show's over, Rod.
It's Ricky.
Ricky Stanicki isn't real.
My job sucked. I had no friends. But now I have all those things.
Are you a fraud, sir?
What's she talking about?
Best friend. That's my best friend.
We gotta get rid of him. Every time he tries to make a point, it's like he's smoking invisible dogs.
Dear God, it's true. To support. Now it looks like I'm cupping the balls.
And I thought it was going to be on friggin' cinemas. No, it's on friggin' Prime, right? So if you've got Prime, you can, you know, get it on Prime. So another cool movie that just basically gets ruined by being on a stream, right? Which is why, like, I backed the idea of like with Monkey Man, right, with Dev Patel's movie, which was going to Netflix, but what's his name? Freaking forgot now. Peele, right? Jordan Peele. Is it Jordan Peele? Or the other guy, right? Who basically bought it and said, no, I'm going to come in and we're going to put money into this. My studio is going to put money into this and take it to the cinema. And I'm so freaking glad for that, because I want to see Monkey Man at the friggin' movies, right? Like I said, there's 2 movies I want to see this year now. Monkey Man, and the other one, which we looked at earlier, which is Boy Kills World, right? That movie and Monkey Man is a must if you're a dude, right? If you're watching this, but also if you're a fan of, and I know a lot of ladies like action heroes and handsome young man and middle-aged man, whatever, right? And also older man. So nobody, if you make movies like this, you're going to get audiences from the female and the male going to see it, right? And not only that, if something like Ricky Snickety, right, Stineki, right, is a movie that is needed in the theaters right now, right? Instead, it's at home box office. It's like, as we used to say in the old days, HBO, right? It's on this little screen in front of me. It's not in the cinema. And here's the thing. You've got John Cena in this movie, right? Let's get rid of the Boy Kills World. You got John Cena. You got Zac Efron, right? Big name guys. People love him, right? He's handsome. Can't say he's not. So, and his, girls like him. And here's the thing. Young girls who were 16, 17, when he was pop star, whatever. Was he pop star? Wasn't he pop star? I think so, right? And, on Disney and all that, grew up with him. And now he's a middle-aged dude. So now they're also middle-aged ladies. And they're living out their fantasies as well. In the sense, like, I'm not trying to, I'm living out their fantasies by seeing him as an action hero. This is how people grow and how they like the entertainment. So, like I said, like I used to, I didn't watch John Cena a lot, but I did enjoy what John Cena wrestling. You can't see me. However, now I get to see John Cena in a movie, and he's, making full of himself, laughing at himself, enjoying it, being with these other actors, having fun, and I think by putting these huge name actors movies that are like really cool on a streamer is doing injustice to the theaters who would enjoy that money coming in for people who are making movies like this, from producers and stuff like that. Stories that are really cool. This is a story that I would love to have written, right? Because it's got a really cool twist. It's got a really cool, interesting plot. It's got great name actors attached to it, and it's fun, and the idea, it's written well. The characters, you've got a guy who they're made up, right? Who has been an excuse for them to get away from things, and now they bring him in, and yet he becomes more lovable than they are, and now he's the main attraction, and they're now in the background, and he's taking all the accolades and stuff, and he's getting all the best jobs or whatever, and you're like, screw that guy, how dare he, and then you go, how do you bring it back around? And that's good storytelling. There's good plot lines, and this is what is missing in cinema, and I think by then taking this to a streamer, you just lost $100 million easy, right? Because here's the thing, like I mentioned, man and woman will go see this movie. Man will go for the laughs. Ladies will go for the romance and the handsome man. Get it? That's how it's always worked. And I've talked about Aquaman, and a male friend of mine said it, right? Captain Jack. Sorry. Well, we just call him the captain, right? And he basically said, why it made $1 million? Aquaman made $1 million because it's just Momoa taking his shirt off. all the ladies went back, rewatched it, right, to the cinema. That's why I made it. And this is something, this sounded like a woke ideologues don't understand that women like handsome, muscular men playing action hero roles, being good fathers, being caring, because that's what they want themselves and their lives to have, right? Guys want to be like them, women want to be married to them. That's how we've always had. It's not about sexism, it's just reality. And that's why we have such trashy, rubbish movies out here now, because that people have lost the idea about what was supposed to be fun and entertaining. And so we end up with rubbishy, virtue signaling, political crap that nobody really wants to watch. And so we destroy an entire industry, the cinema, right? The theaters, the people that work there, the people actually, like during COVID, right? My own cinema here has like spent hundreds of thousands of dollars upgrading, and now hardly anybody's in there. That's money lost. So when I say that these movies are trash, they're not only just trash because they're trash because it's not helping that industry, right? And we're going to look on Friday night at how AI is going to destroy that industry more, and because, you know, with is it Sora or something? And I'm not very smart on these technical things, but I know where I am one of these, as I mentioned earlier, I'm one of those people who like to see 5-6 steps ahead when it comes to technology, because that's how I've trained myself to think, like, what if? And every writer who's worth their salt would always ask, what if, right? If this happens, what if? What does that lead to, right? And it's about inciting, like for us as writers, we're taught about inciting incidences, right? What incites the incidents, right? If somebody hits you, what are you going to react to? Or if somebody says something nasty to you, how do you react? Have you already made up your mind in that situation? Have you storyfied it in your head, right? If somebody hits me, I'm going to do this. And this is what I'm going to say. This is my reaction. And that's how you tell stories as well. And I think cinema is getting destroyed by woke, by politics in it. And listen, I'm very political myself, right? In the sense that, like, I think about these things happening around the world and politics and all that. But I try to keep it very minimal when it comes to my story writing. A lot of that has to do with wanting to just be entertaining in my storytelling, and try to be more of an entertainer and a good storyteller, rather than trying to force feed what my belief system is into the stories, because not everybody's going to read my story or my comic books is going to have the same mindset as me, have the same experiences as me. And so when you do tell a story, try to tell, you got to think about everybody in the sense that, like, what if I was just coming to read it and I didn't even know what this thing was? Would I enjoy it? That sort of thing. So you just can't, and also, I'm writing for all our like Punch Studio side of things, apart from one or two, they're all mature reader, like teen plus books, right? So one of them is actually R18 because it's just a horror book that's, it's just gore, lots of violence and stuff, because it's about death, it's about hell, it's about heaven, it's about people being atrocious end of their lives, because it's about a soul collector, right, from hell. So you're not going to have a happy joy storyline in that. And so I think you need to I just feel sorry for all these people who've invested so much money in upgrading, try to get people into the cinemas, and then movies and streamers like Netflix, Disney. It's basically, Mark Ruffalo, who is a person I don't like, but he said this week that, like, Disney Plus basically destroyed the magic of cinema and the characters they were building up in Avengers, right? And we'll talk about that at a later time. So on Comics and Ramblings, I think that's on Thursday. So and finishing off here, I'm just gonna, because I've got a meeting right up after this with Sweden. So Stephen, I'm gonna have a look at your movie here. Let me just go and bring it up, because I don't know what fail-safe is, so let's have a play that in the end there. Now, this one here, is this the one? Can you just let me know if this is the one you're talking about, the black and white? Is this it, Steve? Because if I'm going along with what you're saying, I watched fail-safe today, which is a black and white. I think it was a good movie. Okay, let's watch this, right? And we'll finish off with this. Because
You gotta forgive us. On April 16th,
Where's that group of planes up there headed for Russia? Give me the president.
30 million people were witness to a live television event.
Do we know what the hell happened? Group 6 is continuing on an attack course.
Send out the code. We're going down below the radar.
Let's talk to Moscow.
That took them to the heart of their deepest fears.
I have warned you, but if
Soviet airspace is invaded, and we will come to a full alert.
This is not part of a plan to provoke war.
They want to strike back at once.
Now, that event is coming to DVD and video cassette.
one of our bomber groups got the wrong message.
We've invaded Russia. We are now in a technical state of war.
We're gonna fire off all their rockets. Well, that leaves us with what alternative, General? We have to prove to them that this is a mistake. Order the fighters in, shoot down the bombers.
Richard Dreyfuss, Brian Dennehy, Noah Wiley, Harvey Keitel, George Clooney.
The nukes are catching up! I catch some of it!
Fail safe. Available on DVD and video cassette.
I think I might have watched it or similar one to that. Stop that. And yeah, I might have watched the first like the original, not this remake, because I mean there's some of the actors in there like Brian Dennehy and Paul Hogan? I think it might be Paul Hogan, I'm not sure. Yeah, but the guy, the bald-headed guy, right? I remember him from an early 90s or late 80s movie. Like I said, I'm a cinemaphile, right? I've watched so many movies that I don't even remember some of the ones that I've watched, because you know that's what made me decide to go into filmmaking and study for 3 years to be a filmmaker, right? In the 2000s. I think there are some great movies coming out this year, guys. And Monkey Man, Boy Kills World, it's just so much fun movies to watch. And so hopefully, you know, yeah, I think yeah, Failsafe 1960 is the one I might have watched. Might have been a replay in the early 80s, or you know, yeah, it would have been about early 80s or late 80s or early 90s, might be on here on TV in New Zealand. So I might have caught it then. So thank you for watching. You know, as I mentioned, do check out some of the movies. And hey, every Monday I'm going to do this so that we can appreciate and look at some great movies and maybe not some so great movies. But I think we need to get people back into cinema, because that's a whole industry that I don't want to see fail. Because you know, when I was a kid, I never got to see movies at the cinema. Couldn't really afford to. One time when I was a teenager, I went to missed a bus, right, when I was like 15 years old. And I didn't get to see a movie until Ghost. I think it was Ghost was the first movie. And I actually went with a girl who actually hit me up, right, hit on me. And she was my first girlfriend, and actually said, "Hey, have you ever seen Ghost?" And said, "Okay," you know. And the week after, we went and saw it together. And so cinema has played like such a great role in my life, and movies has been a part of my life forever. And I know everybody says that about that, but it's for me. I actually I find it very important because I even went to study film, right? I actually acted on stage. I actually made short film. You know, I actually made a short feature film, student feature film, right? And I've done all that. So, and hopefully you can get through what I'm, you know, through these shows, that how much I love this medium. And now I get to tell, you know, I get to tell stories through the comics I do, you know, and so hopefully, you know, you guys get that and the excitement or whatever. And I thank you for being part of this. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Nugget. And if you are joining us here for the first time, please subscribe, hit the notify button for upcoming podcasts, live streams, because I only do live streams. I don't, and then the videos we put out is just clips of live streams. I like the interaction with you guys in chat, and even in the comments, as I mentioned, I like to read your comments because I find them encouraging, and I also find them informative, and also I'm sure that our guests that we interview, that we have on and co-hosts, and my friends when they turn, you know, when they turn up to be co-hosts and stuff, that they find and read that as well, and we enjoy that. So thank you, Steve, and thank you, Nugget. I really appreciate it. And you know, these are people I actually know. And Nugget, I was actually gonna tomorrow we're gonna talk about this. All right. Sorry, Steve, gonna be talking about that when I talk about this on the show and tell show. But we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you guys, and yeah, thanks, Steve. Ka kite ana, everybody. And as a finishing up here, as I always say, wherever you are, be well. Hope you know. Have a good week. If we don't see you tomorrow, also, if you've got a loved one close by, let them know that you love them. That's my meeting telling me to hurry up. Let's go. And also, you know, if they're not close by, let them know on social media that you care, the messenger, whatever, that you're there or that you're okay. People, you know, let people know that's what social media is for, right? Be in contact. Yeah, spot your butt. Ka kite ana, everybody. See you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel, I think. Catch up.